Isn't it in there?
I counted every step you take from 3 flights up to here. The rhythm of your coming was the music I could hear. A syncopated heartbeat on the old and groaning wood. A promise in the cadence that I always understood. Now I climb in silence, and the silence isn't good. It's just a hollow where your echo stood. And I hear your echo in the stairwell, a ghost of footfalls on the turn, a laugh that fractured into fragments I can't ever unlearn. Your echo in the stairwell, a resonance that will not fade. The architecture of this building keeps the memory you made, trapped in concrete plaster and the shadow that you laid. Your echo in the stairwell. The banister still holds the warmth from where you'd slide your hand, a path worn smooth by habit that I cannot understand. Why it outlasts the person, why the imprint stays so clear when the cause is long departed, why the effect persists right here in this vertical tight canyon of my fear, and my hope and my wishing you were near. And I hear your echo in the stairwell, a ghost of footfalls on the turn, a laugh that fractured into fragments I can't ever unlearn. Your echo in the stairwell, a resonance that will not fade. The architecture of this building keeps the memory you made, trapped in concrete plaster and the shadow that you laid. Your echo in the stairwell. They say sound is just a wave that travels until it's spent. But what if some vibrations in a specific place are bent and folded into structure like a fossil in a stone? What if a person's frequency becomes the golden zone, and I'm just living in the aftermath alone?
Echoing and repeating patterns, mimicking the echo itself. It feels like chasing a sound through a cavernous space. The natural reverb on the guitar is the star here.
And I hear could move, but then I'd just be haunted by the quiet in a different room. So I stayed and listened to nothing.
Cozy. Lo-fi bedroom pop, a warm, slightly distorted sympad, a simple, steady drum beat. Great.
It's getting cold again, and I have this. You shivered on my porch step in the early autumn chill. I handed you the gray one off the hook behind the sill. Just bring it back whenever, I said with a casual smile. We talked for hours longer, stretching out that little while. You left with my best sweater, and I walked my extra mile back inside to replay the dial tone of your style. Oh, it's a borrowed sweat, never returned, a stolen artifact for which my heart still yearned. It smells less like your cologne and more like my closet turned into a museum for a love I never learned to ask for back. It's just a borrowed sweater, never returned. Fact I can't unpack. I wear it some mornings when the missing hits too hard. The sleeves are stretched from your arms, a permanent lengthening scar. It doesn't bring you closer, it just outlines all the space where you once filled the fabric with your form and with your grace. And now it's just a woolen ghost in this ordinary place, a stand-in for an embrace. Now it's a borrowed sweater, never returned. It's fallen artifact for which my heart still yearned. It smells less like your cologne and more like my closet turned into a museum for a love I never learned to ask for back. It's just a borrowed sweater, never returned. A fact I can't unpack. The most potent relics aren't the rings or the pen vows. They're the utterly normal things that circumstance allows to become stranded, a book, a mug, a threadbare borrowed shirt, the mundane hostages of a deserted heart. How to get grieve an object that was never meant to hurt.
The music gets a little brighter, a little dreamier, some melody that mimics the paisiness of the sweater, but underneath, the bass line is sad and persistent. It's the sound of nostalgia battling present loneliness.
It's just a borrowed sweater, never returned, a stolen artifact for which my heart still yearned. It smells like dust now, and my closet turned into a museum for a love I never learned to ask for back. Just a borrowed sweater, a simple, stupid fact.
Spring is coming. I should donate it. I won't.
It's mine now anyway.
The final sound is the soft zip of a jacket or a drawer closing.
The twang of a clean, but it's true. I don't check your mother's Facebook for a trace of where you've been. I don't drive by your old apartment just to feel a little thin. The songs we share don't paralyze me. In the grocery store, I've leveled out, I'm even keeled. I'm standing on the shore of a calm and vacant ocean where there used to be a war, and I'm kinda bored. I miss the version of me that missed you, the one who felt the weather in her bones, who wrote that poetry by candlelight and slept with her phone. That girl was raw and real and brilliantly alone. I miss the version of me that missed you. She knew your name was written in the egg. Now I'm just someone who's wide awake for a sadness I can't seem to make or shake. I miss the version of me that missed you. For heaven's sake. I've got new hobbies and a therapist who says I'm doing well. I can say your name out loud without it being a hard spell. The scar's just a footnote in the story of my skin, a tidy little entry on the damage done within. But I miss the frantic bleeding, I miss the holy din of the pain I was in. I miss the version of me that missed you, the one who felt the weather in her bones, who wrote that poetry by candlelight and slept with her phone. That girl was raw and real and brilliantly alone. I miss the version of me that missed you. She knew your name was written in the egg. Now I'm just someone who's wide awake for a sadness I can't seem to make or shake. I miss the version of me that missed you. For heaven's sake. They say time heals, and I guess it does. It just builds a different kind of was, a museum where the fire used to be. And I'm the docent board explaining calmly what it used to mean to me, what she used to mean to me. I'm better. I'm homesick for it wasn't one slam door, it was 1,000 you left ajar. The maybe later's piling up like rust upon a car. It was the coffee you forgot to buy, the plans you'd vaguely made, the sigh you gave when I'd suggest a walk beside the lake. A slow and steady drought, for heaven's sake, a silent, patient earthquake. This is the symphony of small letdowns, a crescendo built on silent ground. No crashing cymbals, just the hollow, tiny sounds of a hope deferred, a compliment unfound, a glance that hit the floor instead of turning around. The symphony of small letdowns is the loudest I have the unreturned I love you hanging brittle in the air, the empty side of mattress and the empty kitchen chair, the birthday you remembered but the card was from the drugstore, a love you had to qualify with I guess I love you more, a catalog of miniature losses I can't ignore, a death by metaphor. This is the symphony of small letdowns, a crescendo built on silent ground. No crashing cymbals, just the hollow, tiny sounds of a hope deferred, a compliment unfound, a glance that hit the floor instead of turning around. The symphony of small letdowns is the loudest I have found. Grief has a volume knob and mine was stuck on low, a constant quiet static in the undertow. You don't die from paper cuts, or so the saying goes, but you can surely bleed out while nobody knows, while the pretty music plays with its intentional flaw. The pretty melody continues, but more crystal instruments tentatively join in. A single violin, a somber cello. They try to build something beautiful, but the recurring off note, the tongue, disrupts the harmony each time, creating a feeling of beautiful, accumulating frustration. It's the symphony itself. This is the symphony of of small letdowns, a crescendo on silent ground. No crash, just the hallowed sounds of a hope that remains, that hit the blend. The symphony is so you can get used to anything. Even most, even the pretty, broken song. Almost silent. It is. The tea had gone cold in the chipped ceramic cups. We'd run out of small talk, used up all our what ifs and ups. The winter sun was leaving its weak stain upon the wall. A final faded effort before the evening's fall, and in that stretched out silence I heard the curtain call for nothing much at all. And it was the quietest goodbye. No slam door, no angry pointed why. Just a glance across the sofa that said, "This is the end." And a slow accepting nod from a former friend. The quietest goodbye that in the us we knew simply descend into the dust motes with nowhere to defend. The quietest goodbye. You stood and took your jacket from the hook behind the door. A mundane, careful action you had done 1,000 times before. But the gravity had shifted in that ordinary reach. The air had changed its texture, become something speech could not breach. You didn't look at me, you just looked at your own feet and found the floorboards underneath. And it was the quietest goodbye. No slam door, no angry pointed why. Just a glance
plays two notes, a minor interval. With vast space between them, the room tone seems to get louder. The sound of a single car passing outside becomes the most dramatic event. This is the sound of the goodbye happening.
It was the quietest goodbye. No door, no why. A glance that said the end. I'm not from a friend. The quietest goodbye when us descend into dust. Goodbye.
The watch clicked softly. I heard your steps fade down the hall. Then I heard the silence after, which was the loudest sound of all. A final, barely their breath.
What if, just what if, spring remembers? The ground is iron, frosted white and hard as stone. The sky a woolen blanket with no promise of its own. The trees are brittle sketches against the coming night. There is no logic here for any tender growing light. But in my pocket warmth, a tiny secret fight, a crumpled paper knife. I'm planting a seed in the snow, a tiny dreaming no to all I know. It's an act of faith, or maybe just of show, for a future self to find when the thaw winds blow. I'm planting a seed in the snow where nothing green can possibly go. It's the bravest, stupidest thing I'll ever sow. This seed in the snow. I scrape a shallow grave with my own frozen hands and whisper to the darkness of the unforgiving lands. I don't expect a miracle, I don't expect a sprout. I just need to believe there's something to be wrong about. I cover it and pat it and I try to shut the doubt that the frost will find it out. I'm planting a seed in the snow, a tiny dreaming no to all I know. It's an act of faith, or maybe just of show, for a future self to find when the thaw winds blow.
a sweet, sad, and surprisingly hopeful solo. It dances lightly over the guitar like a single brave bird over a frozen field. It feels both foolish and beautiful, which is the entire point.
It will sleep, it will forget what light means, and maybe that's enough. The potential, the buried if is enough.
A light blast. 4 seconds. One long blast.
I keep the lamp lit, polish every clean of glass. I walk the spiral staircase as the hours slowly pass. I chart the rocks and currents in a ledger neat and clear. A steady bright rotation for the ones who venture near. My purpose is to comfort, to conquer fear, to make the path ahead appear. But I'm a lighthouse on a foggy coast. I can guide you
once more version sword. Is the sound of the beacon doing its job perfectly to end me? The foghorn bass drone in the dens, swirling on the strange instruments grow louder, representing the internal fog. It's a battle between external clears and internal confusions.
Boy, I'm a lighthouse on a foggy coast. I can guide you home, but it's what I miss the most. I blaze a trail through the murky, rolling gray, while the very same mist takes my own sense of way. I'm a fixed bright point, while inside I sway. I'm lighthouse on a foggy coast out of blind sea. But I'll show you how to stay. The light stays on, it has to. The fog is a slow, deliberate pluck of the traditional Japanese chord string. It's resonant, and a tired twang hangs in the air. Vide, breathy shakuhachi float, enters with a single, mournful, bending note. Modern, warm, sustained cello notes blend underneath, bridging old and new. It is not hidden. It is illuminated. I held the pieces in my hands, a shattered, useless art, a map of every fracture, of every foolish start. I tried to sweep the fragments to the edges of the room, to live around the damage in the half-remembered gloom, to build a life upon the presumption of the doom that followed from the boom. But then I learned of kintsugi, the pottery of gold, to mend the broken places, to make the story bold, to trace the lines of breaking with a luminous precious seam, to find patiently with dust of precious ore. A gilded, slow adhesive for this ancient, quiet war. I do not try to hide the scar where trust fell to the floor. I highlight it, I frame it, I honor what it's for. A testament to suffering and to being something more than I was before. 'Cause I believe in kintsugi, the pottery of gold, to mend the broken places, to make the story bold, to trace the lines of breaking with a luminous precious seam, to find a different beauty in the interrupted dream. So I'm filling every crack now with a slow and steady gleam. I have a kintsugi heart, and the breaks are where the light is seen. The first vessel was perfect, smooth and without line, but it could not hold the ocean, it could not hold the time. This second one is stronger, for it knows it can be broke and still be pieced together, not a symbol or a joke, but as a choice, a testament to truth that I have spoke to the fragile, ghostly I am practicing kintsugi, the pottery of gold. I mend the broken places, I make the story bold. I trace the lines of breaking with a luminous precious seam. I find a greater beauty in the interrupted dream. I'm filling every crack now with a steady, patient gleam. I have a kintsugi heart, and the breaks are where I bleed. I am not what broke me. I am what put me back together with gold.
Soothing, hypnotic sound of gentle ocean waves, a symptotic pulse is a peaceful
sharp resolve, I'm at a different star. I swear this time the distance will be truly, fully far. I mute your name, I cancel all the routes that lead me back. I color in a future that is solid, strong and black. A perfect, clean, decisive, forward-facing track. But there's a whisper in the fabric, a familiar, quiet night. I am waves that know the shore. I'm pulling away to return once more. It's not a failure, it's a law I can't ignore. Rhythm written in my blood, in my core. In every leaving, there's a promise to restore. I am waves that know the shore. Even when I'm farthest out, I'm aiming for the waves that know the shore. I build a life in other towns with unfamiliar light. I learn to love the silence of a solitary night. And just when I am certain I've outrun the old tattoo, a memory will surface, blue and true. A scent, a song, a certain shade of you, and the undertow claims what I thought I knew. I am waves that know the shore. I'm pulling away to return once more. It's not a failure, it's a law I can't ignore. A rhythm written in my blood, in my core. In every leaving, there's a promise to restore. I am waves that know the shore. Even when I'm farthest out, I'm aiming for the waves that know the shore. What is the self but water, shaped by lunar call? A constant moving border, destined to rise and fall. The shore is not the prison, nor the sea the great escape. They are just two lovers in a permanent, changing shape. I'm aiming for inevitable fate. I am waves that know the shore. the shore. The tide goes out, the tide comes in. I am not lost, I am just this. I can feel her forming in the corners of the room. I see her in the mirror when I'm brushing out my hair. A colder, thinner version with an empty, steady stare. She doesn't laugh at me, she doesn't taste the food she eats. She's made of polished marble and of tidy, small defeats. A monument to bitterness on quiet, patient streets. And she's standing right behind me. She's tomorrow's ghost, haunting me today. A future echo of the price I'm gonna pay for holding on this tightly to the ashes of your name. She's the woman I'll become if I keep playing out this game of grief and recollection and deciding all the blame. Tomorrow's ghost, a silent growing flame, and I can feel her moving in to stay. I try to outrun her music with a drink with crowded noise. I fill my mouth with other words, I cultivate new poise. But in the space between the heartbeats in the elevator side, I see her in the window as the city passes by. A hollowed out successor with the light gone from her eye. She's the only one who waves goodbye. She's tomorrow's ghost, haunting me today. A future echo of the price I'm gonna pay for holding on this tightly to the ashes of your name. She's the woman I'll become if I keep playing out this game of grief and recollection and deciding all the blame. Tomorrow's ghost, a silent growing flame, that all I can feel her moving in to stay. Is a ghost a thing that will be, or a thing I'm making now? Am I the architect, the tenant, and the vow? Let's get to love our future self. This dressed up beaded doubt, the only thing I can't seem to cast out. have so much time. Something in the air is learning how to grow. There's a thread of silver in the blue, a promise stitched across the afternoon. I watched it form a perfect, patient art, a sculpture for the sky, a place to start. But now the wind has found a softer word, a whisper that I felt but never heard. And the edges, they are starting to come loose. I hear the sound of clouds unraveling, a gentle pull, a silent silver falling, the shape of what could be dissolving into air, a fragile breath, a quiet, slow despair. I'm learning how to watch a dream untie against the canvas of a darkening sky, the sound of clouds unraveling. We built a castle on a summer breeze, with turrets made of possibilities. No walls to cast a shadow on the grass, just the future made of crystal glass. But seasons turn and carry different tunes. They scatter cotton castles into moons, and the foundation, it was vapor all along. I hear the sound of clouds unraveling, a gentle pull, a silent silver falling, the shape of what could be dissolving into air, a fragile breath, a quiet, slow despair. I'm learning how to watch a dream untie against the canvas of a darkening sky, the sound of clouds unraveling. Is this what beauty is? The grand slow fade, the masterpiece that wasn't meant to stay, a lesson written in the evening light, to hold things loosely, hold them not too tight, and find the grace in letting go of form, in welcoming the quiet gathering storm. I hear the sound of clouds unraveling, gentle pull, a silent silver falling, the shape of what could be dissolving into air, a fragile breath, a quiet slow despair. I'm learning how to watch a dream untie against the canvas of a darkening sky, the sound of clouds unraveling, just threads of silver on my skin. Where did you end, and where do I begin? The sound. Midnight blue dashboard glow, familiar roads I shouldn't know, counting the passing yellow lines, and every street light a memory of mine. The first one flickers on the left, that's where you laughed and caught your breath. When I told you that stupid joke, the one that only we ever spoke, the light turns green, but I slow down to see the ghost of us in town. Just kids who thought this feeling would never end. The city breathes in neon signs, and I'm just tracing with my eyes the map of us that's fading now, a film strip I can't rewind somehow. In every street light a memory, a flash of how it used to be, a different shade of you and me, projected on my windshield screen. I drive the circuit through the past, knowing by as the last few intersections fly. The city sleeps, but I'm still awake on this road for memory's sake. Every street light, hold it to your ear. What is it you hear? A whispered roar from another shore. I found it on the beach where we first met. A simple pearly sun-bleached secret. Pressed it to my ear to quiet my mind, and left the present moment far behind. It doesn't sound like waves that crash and break. It's more the sound that echoes in their wake. The memory of motion trapped in stone. A universe's sign, a simple home. It's the ocean in a seashell, the echo of the deep. A love that was an ocean, now just a song I keep. A vast and wild forever, held in a hollow curl. The quietest of thunders in a tiny, fragile world. Oh, the ocean in a seashell. They say it's just the blood inside my ear, the noise my own small body wants to hear. But science can't explain the way it feels. The tide it pulls from places it conceals. It maps the coastline of a different year, and I can almost feel you standing here. Your hand in mine, the wind against our skin. The roaring world we somehow fit within. It's the ocean in a seashell, the echo of the deep. A love that was an ocean, now just a song I keep. A vast and wild forever, held in a hollow pearl. The quietest of thunders in a tiny, goes out, the shell stays dry. But if I listen close, I still hear the cry of the ocean. Of the ocean. Dust and the quiet, just the piano and me. The chandelier's a constellation of cobweb and rust, 1,000 crystals sleeping in a blanket of dust. My footsteps are the only sound upon the marble floor, echoing where 100 happy feet danced here before. I win the old gramophone, but the needle only sighs and plays a silence back beneath these twilight darkened skies. So I'll play a waltz for ghosts tonight, a slow spin in the faded light, for partners made of memory and mist for every cheek I never kissed. We'll glide through shadows on the wall to a melody I can't recall, just the echo of a song that's truly gone. A waltz for ghosts dancing on. I feel a whisper of a gown brush against my leg, a phantom pressure in my palm where a hand would beg to lead the way around the floor in elegant despair, with no one but the nobody standing there. The mirror shows a lonely girl in last century's lace, and the empty space where someone else should fill the frame's embrace. So I'll play final dance that cannot last. The final chord will shiver and the last note will decay, and even all the ghosts will have to drift away.
The piano becomes slightly more complex and alert for a full waltz sequence, perhaps joined by a lonely, weeping violin or cello. It should sound beautiful, practiced, and fondly sad.
So play this waltz for ghosts tonight, our last slow spin in the dying light, for partners made of memory and mist, for every cheek I'd never kiss will glide through shadows on the wall. I finally remember it all, but the song is over and the dancers have moved on. Just a waltz for ghosts, forever gone. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1.
Shake it once and watch it bloom in the quiet of my room. A smile appears from out of the blue, starts its slow fade too.
We took this one on the boardwalk here. Your ice cream smile, the sunset near. You tucked a strand of wind-blown hair, and I remember how you'd stare, not at the lens, but just past me. At some future you could see the colors were so sharp and true. Now they're just a hazy blue.
And we're fading like Polaroids, losing the edges, losing the noise. The vivid reds are turning to rust, the certainty dissolving to dust, holding a picture that time develops wrong. A memory where we still belong, but the image is softening day by day,
Feeling like Polaroids away.
Here's the one from your birthday night, candlelit and glowing bright. You caught mid-laugh, a perfect chance. We didn't know it was our last dance. I keep it in my jacket's fold, a story that will never be told in full again. The details slip at the corner of your lip, and we're fading like Polaroids, losing the edges, losing the noise. The vivid reds are turning ghost of a grin, a place where we once fit in, left on the shelf in the afternoon sun, till the fading is finally done.
Caught them in jars with holes in the lid. A galaxy in glass that a kid thought they could keep in the dark and the quiet and the soft and the deep. First one blinked against the glass, a lonely greenish star. We thought we'd brought the summer night inside, not knowing what we are. We watched them paint their hopeful light on the ceiling of our room, a silent slow parade against the gathering gloom. We fell asleep to their gentle show, a living, breathing dream, and woke up to the morning sun's too harsh and practical being one by one. A tiny lights went out, leaving just the question and the quiet hollow doubt. Where do fireflies go to die? Do they fall like embers from the sky? Is there a secret passy hallowed ground where all the little lost lights can be found? Or do they just fade where they lie in a jar on a sill beneath a child's sigh? A brief, beautiful biological spark that leaves its afterglow here in the dark, where fireflies go to die. I saw your light across a crowded room, a sudden brilliant glow, a signal in the noise that only I would ever know. We built a jar of moments, fragile, bright, and temporary too. I tried so hard to keep that borrowed light alive in you, but seasons change and batteries fail, and magic has its cost, and even the most brilliant bioluminescence gets lost, and one by one our tiny lights went out, leaving just the question and the quiet hollow doubt. Where do fireflies go to die? Do they fall like embers from the sky? Is there a secret mossy hallowed ground where all the little lost lights can be found? Or do they just fade where they lie in the cage of a heart beneath the for one small night. So where do fireflies glow to die? Do they fall like wishes from the sky? But is a secret tender, hallowed ground in every faded promise that I found, and they just change where they lie, from a jar to a thorn beneath the starlit sky. A brief, beautiful, miraculous spark that left its afterglow here in my heart, where fireflies go to die. I unscrew the lid and let the memory out, and watch it blink away without a shadow of a doubt into the night. The wind has taken all the rest. In whispers rustles to its nest, but one still clings to the barren ball, a scrap of color utterly alone. The maple wore a crimson cloak, a riot in the air, a symphony of letting go with beauty to spare. They danced their final waltzes on the autumn's icy breath, and chose the soft surrender to a quieter death. They carpeted the ground below in gold and fiery red, a comfortable collective final autumn bed. But I am the last leaf holding on to a branch that winter says is gone, a brittle, shaking, stubborn bit of faith against the season's certain wraith. I've watched my family fall away. I feel the coming cold of gray, but something in my veins still sings the sun. I am the last leaf holding on. They say it's just a matter of a stronger gust of wind, a physics I can't fight, a destined frozen end. My stem is thin and weary from the battles it has faced. My skin is dry and parchment torn and thinly, thinly laced. The tree has settled into sleep, its sap has ceased to run. Its dreams are deep and root bound of a different, distant sun. But I am the last leaf holding on to a branch that winter says is gone, a brittle, shaking, stubborn bit of faith against the season's certain wraith. I've watched my family fall away. clutching with my last frayed thread to a life that's already dead. You can see it in the way the banks are long. A story told in silt for nights of storm. The current has a memory, a deep and liquid sigh for every tear that ever fell from an unforgiving sky. My bed was dry and dusty, just a scar across the land. A map of absences drawn by a careless, thirsty hand. I forgot the sound of movement, the cool and cleansing rush, the feeling of a purpose in the everlasting hush. I was just a ditch for echoes, a path for winding thought, a lesson in what happens when a battle's left unfought. But I am a river that remembers rain, every drop of sorrow, every ounce of pain. It carved these channels deep inside a permanent design, so even in the drought I know the blueprint of the line. The flood may be forgotten, the sun may bleach the stone, but the shape of what poured through me is a shape I now call home. Oh, I am love was not a gentle shower, it was a hurricane. It shattered every boundary, it washed away the sane, it roared through every canyon of my cautious, guarded soul, and took control, a wild and uncontrollable roll. It left behind a wreckage, but also fertile ground, and a new way for the water to forever wind around. 'Cause I am a river that remembers rain, every drop of passion, every flash of pain. It carved these channels deep inside, a permanent design, so even in the stillness I know the whisper of the line. The flood may be long over, the banks may stand alone, but the shape of what poured through me is a shape I now call home. Oh, I am a river that remembers round. They say time is the healer, that it smooths away the past, but time is just the current, and its work is meant to last. To deepen, not erase, the record of the fall, to write the history of water upon the canyon wall. So I don't wish for forgetfulness, for a flat and featureless plain. I am grateful for the weathering, I am grateful for the And I am a river that remembers rain, every drop that changed me, every sweet and sharp refrain. It carved these channels deep inside my permanent divine design, so even in the drought I cherish every twisting line. The flood is just a memory, the sun now warms the stone, and the shape of what poured through me is a shape I call my own. Yes, I am a river that remembers The water's quiet now, but the path is clear. I am the man of every storm I've ever feared, and loved and been, just flowing, remembering.
Make a wish. Take a breath.
2, 3. Measure your life in a held breath and a whispered plea. I found you in the meadow, a sun in a sea of green, a perfect fluffy promise in a world stuck in between. You held 100 futures on your fragile feathered head, each one a tiny parachute by quiet breezes led. I closed my eyes and thought of all the things I hope to be, and pressed my fate against my lips and set the future free. Oh, dandelion clocks were counting down the shocks of time that slips like seeds from open palms. We're building fragile calms on stems that break so easy in the wind that's never breezy. Always strong, our hours never long. We're just dandelion clocks ticking. We sat on the back porch step. You blew on one for me. You get one wish per flower, you said, grinning happily. I wished for endless summer, for days that wouldn't end, for you to always be right there, my partner and my friend. You made a wish I'll never know. You sent it to the sky and watched it disappear into the blue without a sigh. Oh, dandelion clocks were counting down the shocks of time that slips like seeds from open palms. We're building fragile calms on stems that break so easy in the wind that's never breezy. Always strong, our hours never long. We're just dandelion clocks. Maybe every wish we make is just a prayer for more time, a desperate sweet agreement with a rhythm and a rhyme that we know deep down is broken, just a childhood fairy tale, that the wind will always win and every bright hope will fail, but we make it anyway, against the dying of the light, a small, defiant, beautiful, and ultimately losing fight. Yeah, dandelion clocks time that slipped like seeds from open palms. We built such fragile calms on stems that broke so easy in the wind that wasn't breezy. It was strong, our hour wasn't long. We're just dandelion clocks. The field is full of soldiers now, just green and stubborn stems, where all the fluffy wishes blew away. But in my mind I'm there with you, with one last perfect clock, and I am always taking that breath, always wishing. The wood is softening with rain and years. The grain is slowly disappearing under a green and velvet silent prayer. We carved our names here with a pocket knife's dull gleam, a declaration to the sky, a teenage foolish dream, that we'd come back here every year on this exact same date and read them out like sacred text and celebrate our fate. For 5 years straight we kept the vow, with picnics and with wine. You'd trace the letters with your thumb and say you'd always be mine. But seasons turn without consent, and promises grow dense, and one day you just didn't come and left me here intense and patient silence, waiting for the green. When moss covers the bench where our names used to be seen, when nature takes its tender time to heal and to obscure the cut we made upon the world, so passionate and sure. When moss covers the bench, the first year it was just a stain, a shadow on the oak, a hint of what the forest had in mind, a verdant cloak. The second year the letters blurred like someone rubbed them soft, the Y of your name fading first aloft. Now I can't find the angry ache that started mine at all. The living world has written its own name upon our scrawl. 'Cause seasons turn without consent, and memories grow dense, and I still come, but now I come alone without a sense. Impatient silence, watching for the green. When moss covers the bench where our names used to be seen, when nature takes its tender time to heal and to obscure the cut we made upon the world, so passionate and sure. Yes, moss covers the bench. Is this forgiveness, this slow green embrace, the planet's way of holding us with uncontested grace? Or is it just indifference, a biological will to fill the empty spaces and to comfortably chill the fever of our history, to cool the burn and scar with something older, quieter, and infinitely more far than any love a human heart could ever hope to make. Seasons turn without consent, and absences grow dense, and I come now just to sit and witness the immense and patient silence beneath the common green. Now moss has covered the bench where our names used to be seen, and nature took its tender time to heal and to obscure the cut we made, and now the world is whole again and sure. The moss has covered the bench. I brush my hand across the sea, where wood and velvet softly dream. I can't feel our edges anymore, just the forest floor, just the gentle growing thing, finally covering everything.